Batman. Wow, that was pretty terrible. I know I've done better. Anyway, welcome back to the 20th Century Dude channel. We're about a week until Matt Reeves' Batman movie, which I am cautiously optimistic about. I mean, the reason I'm cautious is that I don't know how Robert Pattinson will actually fare in the movie. And to be honest, I would have rather have seen Ben Affleck's canceled solo movie and what could have been that. I mean, I know a lot of people are excited about Robert Pattinson and the possibilities this movie holds, but I don't know. Anyway, I'll be ranking 14 Batman flicks, and just so you know what I'm not counting, I will not be counting Mask of the Phantasm, only because I have not seen it, and surprisingly enough, I've actually not seen Batman the Animated Series, or any animated Batman series for that matter, so I do promise that I will get on that eventually. I also will not be counting the first Suicide Squad movie, as he only cameoed in that, and the 2017 Justice League movie, as I think fans and executives and Warner Brothers don't even consider that to be canon to the DCEU anymore. However, I will be covering the other cut of Justice League, that being Zack Snyder's. I will also not be counting any of the direct-to-video Batman movies, as I also have not seen those, but I will be considering flicks such as Joker in this rating, along with the movie serials. Beginning off, in last place is of course the 1997 Batman and Robin. I mean, come on, what did you expect? I mean, if this doesn't make the bottom of the list, I don't know what will. Arnold Schwarzenegger's casting as Mr. Freeze should have been genius, but I don't know. When we get lines such as "Ice to meet you," and then there's like skating rink fight in the museum, like that was just such a mistake. Like, why? And this is also the same movie with batsuit nipples and the close-up on what I call the bat ass, but yeah, this movie pretty much explains itself, and it's probably the one besides the movie serials that I've seen the least. Speaking of movie serials, next up on the list is Batman, the 1943 movie serial. I mean, I like the format of movie serials and all, and I like that they at least attempted to do something with Batman, but I don't think that this one ever fared that well. I mean, doesn't really have anything to do with crime and Gotham, and more so a stereotypical Jap stereotype. If you don't think those are funny, then you're definitely not going to like this. So, I mean, I also just didn't think it was particularly that interesting, so maybe this one's just kind of a skip. In 12th place, following up with that, is Batman Forever, released in 1995. This is the only Batman movie to star Val Kilmer, and only one of two movies directed by Joel Schumacher. Thank God. I mean, I would have been interested to see what the unreleased Batman Unchained would have looked like, considering that they were possibly going to bring Harley Quinn in here as Jack Nicholson's Joker's daughter, but these movies are just, I don't know, they're kind of, Schumacher's movies are just kind of whack, and not for a good reason. Jim Carrey as Riddler is maybe a bit too over the top, even for my liking. I know that, like, he's kind of over top in the original TV series and whatnot, but I don't know. It just seems like a little much. And Tommy Lee Jones' performance as Two-Face is also pretty terrible, which is kind of disappointing because I really like anything Tommy Lee Jones does. Also, I'm still wondering what Seal's Kiss from a Rose is doing in this film and what it actually has to do, but I don't know. Oh well. At least we get one of the best U2 songs ever in the credits, I will give it that. But anyway, number 11, following up from that, is Batman and Robin, the 1940s movie serial. This is, of course, the second one, and while it is better than the previous one, it again just isn't the best one that's offered. Next up is Batman the Movie, released in 1966. Now, granted, I usually like, the corny camp provided from the original Batman TV series, as I can can get a good laugh out of it every now and then, especially the scene in this film with the Bat Shark repellent. I mean, that still makes me laugh, like, nonstop, but This unfortunately feels like a prolonged episode of the TV show, and it has United Nations in this for some reason, and yeah, I don't know. Anyway, next up is Batman v Superman, Dawn of Justice, which I tried to go in with open arms, even though I've heard it got terrible reviews at the time, but honestly, I'm still not impressed. I've seen the theatrical cut twice and the longer Ultimate Edition once, and while I like the Ultimate cut better, I just don't find myself completely invested in the story. And I don't find that the Ultimate Edition completely fixes as much as what everybody says it does. And I just don't like the performance of Lex Luthor in this. But I don't know. I mean, maybe I'm more of a Gene Hackman guy when it comes to those older Superman movies, but I just did not like that. The whole argument with the Martha scene is unfortunately too prolonged. Henry Cavill as Superman I'm still okay with, although I still prefer Christopher Reeve's version. And I actually found myself to like Ben Affleck as Batman. He's not my favorite, but I will say he is definitely better than Val Kilmer and, of course, George Clooney. The whole execution of the story is just, I don't know, a bit weak, and it doesn't help that we got studio interference here to cut it down, and it's just, I don't know, we've seen better. In 8th place, we've got the Lego Batman movie, which it is pretty funny. Although, while I understand it is more of a parody, I mean, especially considering that King Kong, Sauron, and like Voldemort are actually in this, it is still a pretty good movie. I would rank this higher had it not been more of a Lego franchise movie than a Batman movie. Otherwise, it's still pretty good of a watch. And with lucky number 7, it's The Dark Knight Rises. Now, don't get me wrong, I really like this movie, and I usually like anything that Christopher Nolan does. But I do think this movie has the Return of the Jedi problem, where I like all the movies in the trilogy, but the third one is definitely the least best and the least polished. I think it's a great ending to an otherwise astonishing trilogy, even if the last scenes are the most straightforward, which I understand Nolan really isn't the most straightforward director with his movies. He prefers audience interpretation and whatnot, which I kind of like. Chris Bale still remains my favorite Batman actor to date. Michael Caine and Gary Oldman will always be the definitive Alfred and Commissioner Gordon, and of course, Tom Hardy's Bane is just legendary, and probably my favorite role from that actor to date. I don't know, it's still a pretty good movie. In 6th place is Batman 1989. The movie that started Batmania. We get the great Jack Nicholson as Joker, as well as the scene where he dances in that art gallery. That is legendary. But anyway, we get a good performance from Michael Keaton, who's my second favorite Batman, and I guess he's returning in The Flash now or something because of Flashpoint. Yeah, great movie. You can't miss it. Number 5, Zack Snyder's Justice League. And this is actually the only cut of the Justice League movie I like, and well, actually most people probably agree with me. And this time around, I actually like the Cyborg and Flash characters. Previously in the Whedonverse, as I would call it, I didn't think they were very interesting. Cyborg was my least favorite member of the team, and I would have rather have seen Green Lantern or somebody else in there instead. However, this time, because of how fleshed out he was, now he's one of my favorite members. And in the flashback sequence, we do see the Green Lantern Corps. However, I just don't understand why we couldn't get Green Lantern in this movie. Like, there was an opportunity there, and it's kind of missed, I think. And I did enjoy the 4-hour experience, and I did see it all in one sitting, all by bathroom breaks every now and then. However, I do consider the epilogue part a bit long. It definitely needed trimmed down, or maybe at least saved as like credit sequences and stuff like that Marvel does. Still, it set up the confrontation between Deathstroke and Batman that I really wish we could have gotten in the future. So maybe 5 or 6 years from now we'll get that movie, but I don't know. It's also in the 4:3 aspect ratio for some reason. I don't know why Zack Snyder didn't use something wider, but I don't know. In 4th place, and maybe a movie that's ranked higher than it should be, is Tim Burton's Batman Returns. It's definitely Tim Burton going all at it with himself. I'm usually not a fan of his work, but When it comes to Batman, I usually can't help myself. We get the best performance of Catwoman to date. Danny DeVito as the Penguin is just great, to say the least. And unfortunately, this is the last one with Keaton as Batman, well, if you're not counting the Flash movie. Maybe I like this movie too much, I don't know, but I seem to be one of the few people that thinks this is better than Batman 1989. And also, I'm still curious as to why nobody is arguing whether this is a Christmas movie or not. I mean, Alfred does wish somebody Merry Christmas. There's mentions of Christmas at the end. There's a Gotham Christmas tree. In fact, I think, yeah, Alfred's even Christmas shopping. So there's plenty of scenes of Christmas time. So is Batman Returns a Christmas movie or not? I mean, I guess the debate should be out there. And coming up on the top 3 is Joker, which I'm sure some of you will argue isn't a true Batman movie, but I guess I will consider it. I will say it's one of the best movies of 2019 by far. Probably one of my favorite movies to see in the past decade. I really wish more movies would be made like this. And I do wish this was shot on film. I know at some places they had it converted to 70 millimeter, which I really wish I could have seen. But I think the fact that it was shot on digital is, I don't know, kind of a downer from WB. But at least we get a great performance from Joaquin Phoenix, who in my opinion is the second best Joker on film. And I could definitely see the Killing Joke comparisons in this movie. In second place is Batman Begins, which I have a great respect for. It's the second best Batman movie and actually my second favorite from Christopher Nolan. Both this and The Dark Knight, I would actually put in the top 10 of my favorite superhero movies ever. It's the beginning of one of my favorite trilogies, actually. And of course, the best superhero film ever, in first place, The Dark Knight. I'm sure you've seen it already and I've heard the praise. I mean, come on, what did you expect? I mean, of course I was going to put this at number 1. I don't even expect Robert Pattinson's movie to top this masterpiece. I know that movie is hyped, but I don't think it will ever top this. It's also on my top 20 favorite movies ever. And if you aren't, by the end of the movie, astounded by this achievement in cinema, I don't know what on earth will please you. But this is just such a great film. Anyway, guys, thanks for checking in today. If you see The Batman, let me know what you thought about it. Stay safe, have a great day, and one of my projects is going to be a radio drama, which I don't know how that will turn out, but hopefully that gets off the ground in the next couple of months, so that's upcoming. But anyway, have a good day.